and Country Supermarkets in Hoisington.
Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
And the pitch, Shohei swings and he hits one way out in right center. Showtime! Back-to-back home runs, and the Angels lead it 4-2.
I know at least two of them were off-speed pitches, right? And two of them were also two-strike pitches. So you give them credit. Those guys, they put good swings on pitches that were when they were behind in the count.
Oh, it's right tackle for me. Yeah, because right tackle affects left tackle. And they were able to get by with Orlando Brown playing left tackle because they had a serviceable right tackle in Andrew Wiley, and they could actually do some things to help Orlando Brown out.
I personally believe by the time their picks roll around, I think the strength of this draft board will be edge rusher, running back, or perhaps a defensive lineman. I think that's where the strength will be by the time they pick.
Being here in San Francisco, so many baseball people are saying, no. Like, they think this is a complete leverage game by the Athletics, that they're just looking for a better financial deal out of Oakland.
Trey Turner, and he swings and lifts it high and deep left field. That is gone. Trey Turner puts the Phillies on the board. It's 1-0 Phillies.
Fox dribbles at the logo, spins on, runs into Draymond, pass over to Barnes. Barnes for three, no good. Buzzer sound. The Warriors escape with a win.
9.5 to play in overtime. Deadlocked at 4. Edmonton has never led. Hyman left wing for the win. He shoots and scores. Zach Hyman. This game is over. This series is tied. 5-4 Edmonton.
And welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome to the Monday Sports Day show. Steve Webster back in the chair after the hooligans ran roughshod over the programming on the program last week. Joining me on the show, Mike Hesher.
He just said he didn't do anything wrong. It was all us.
Mike Corson. Good to see you, Mike. And Mr. Aaron NBA Clark right here on the show. Good to see you, have everybody back around here and everything. It's just...
It feels good to be back here on my normal side, just being the eye candy for the video.
Wow! The eye candy?
That's why he set me on the edge, right? That way the camera can...
But I brought stuff back for Corson.
We're not talking about Buc-ee's. I didn't know if this was Corson's or if it was yours, but buy yourself a stuffed Bucky.
A stuffed Bucky.
Yeah, and he goes at 9 o'clock on a Friday morning, and he says, "This is awesome." No, man, go up Saturday afternoon.
No, this is perfect. But I filled the tank up with gas, and I was at pump 209.
Is it just gas pumps as far as you can see?
It's like a half mile. Between a quarter and a half mile of gas pumps.
So this morning you did the chant. What did that sound like?
Brisket on the grill! And then what did the other people say? Oh, yay, oh, yay! It was like Disneyland. You got to... I will never contest anything that Mike Corson says again.
I'm going to use this for a week, fellas. We'll see what else we can get.
We got to take like a KVGB road trip to the nearest Buc-ee's now.
I think we should give away a trip.
We could give away a trip with Mike Corson, local Buc-ee's expert. Take a trip to the nearest Buc-ee's and learn all about the lore along the way with our very own Mike Corson.
I've got a Buc-ee's coffee mug. I've got a Buc-ee's, I got a shot glass to add to the collection. It was incredible. I felt like literally I was at Disney World.
So what happens when we go all electric? What does that do to Buc-ee's? There'll be 209 electric fill-ups, baby.
Oh, they've got electric places over there. And probably 209, I would say there's probably 250 gas pumps there. They had like 6 electric charging stations. You know how many cars were in there?
0.
Right. We're going to have
He's getting his fingers over there to shut us off, isn't he?
No.
Okay.
Because we're going to have the our Kansas oil and gas show coming up on Wednesday, and I want to ask the gentleman who comes in, and it's just escaping my mind right now. So we're outside Little Rock on I-40, right? Between Little Rock and Memphis. And Deb's over there said, well, there sure are a lot of semis out here. How many do you think there are? I don't know. And next thing I know, she's going 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In 24 minutes, in the westbound lane on I-40, 24 minutes, 300 trucks. And these are the 5 axles. I wouldn't let her count like delivery trucks or stuff like that. 300 semis.
That was the westbound lane only?
That was the westbound lane. That were passing.
Well, I understand that, but that doesn't nothing to do with the other lane, the eastbound lane.
No, the ones I was passing and going in. Incredible. How are we going to... Anyway.
Did you go into Memphis on...
I did. In fact, I got into South Memphis because when I was going through and I missed my turn for 55 South. So then you get off this, so I can just catch it here, and I go down in there, and then I went back to the west and went underneath I-55 South again. So I thought, well, I'll just go down south a little bit more, and as I continued to go south and go underneath I-55, because there was not a ramp on there, I would say the neighborhood started to deteriorate a little bit. So we locked the doors and finally got out of there. So, yeah, South Memphis, I'd never been there before.
So I stayed in West Memphis, but the bridge right outside of there is the one that had the issues a couple years ago. But I was making fun of Memphis to the guy running our motel, including the Pyramid, and that's what the hub of the Bass Pro Shops used to be, where the Grizzlies play.
Yeah.
But now it's this awesome headquarters of Bass Pro Shops, I think.
The Pyramid?
The Bass Pro Pyramid.
It was great. You know, stadiums, the old Gray Lady in Birmingham. That was a pretty sketchy part of town, too, if you want to look at that. Let's see.
Nice little roll 'em up.
And this is one that I really feel I didn't think that the University of South Carolina was in Columbia. William Bryce Stadium, SEC Stadium #1, and the one in Birmingham, the old Gray Lady, because that's where Auburn and Alabama would always play for years. Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. In Lexington, I don't even know what the name they call it. They're middle tier in the SEC. And Rupp Arena and the baseball stadium that Roger Ward played at.
I was going to say, I thought you said you'd gone to Roger Ward Stadium.
Roger Ward Stadium, yeah.
That's what we can name it now, right?
And then you're in Indiana. You see the sign, French Lick. I was not allowed to get off the road to go find French Lick, the home of Larry Bird. So, yeah, it was a very good trip. So, thanks for asking.
And you get to go by you see Buffalo Trace distillery signs when you're on that road?
I don't remember those.
Yeah.
Don't remember those. I saw that where the new Yum Yum Center is in Louisville.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right next to the Galt Hotel.
But
where Fort Hays State stayed when they won the national championship in 1996.
But isn't David graduating military drill sergeant school the most important thing of this trip? Or no? Am I mistaken? Your son graduated and now is a drill sergeant.
If you ever want to find out something that just makes you want to go out and just run, go out at 6:30 in the morning at Fort Jackson, have your cup of coffee, and all you can hear is just because they've got so many they have so much basic training down there for the U.S. Army. I just wanted to go run with them.
One more. If you were that close to Yum Yum, did you go see the big Louisville Slugger?
No. Saw that last time I was down in 1996, yeah. The home of Cassius Clay. The convention center had a big sign on it saying, yeah, that's where they played the national tournament. So, yeah, the Yum Yum Center. French Lick. That's about all I got right now.
What was the most impressive stadium you saw? Which one took your breath away the most?
Neyland.
right there on the river.
It's like a cake. It's like it started out like with 30,000, and then they put another row up on there, and then there's 45, and then there's...
And it's right there at Peyton Manning, Road Drive? And then right down the road is...
Peyton Manning Way, I think,
Okay.
yeah. And then...
It's the Peyton Manning way. Never brought a championship around, but don't bring it up.
And then the coach that coached them in their last national championship.
Fulmer? Philip Fulmer?
Philip Fulmer Boulevard.
And then right down the way is a statue and a kind of a memorial to the Lady Vols coach, whose name is escaping me.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Pat Summit. So I got my picture with that.
Okay, all right. And I did not stop at one Waffle House the entire time we were down there, which was incredible. But
that was our first stop, was at Knoxville, right after we went by Neyland.
Yes, I had a fun trip. Realized how much fun it was when the alarm went off this morning. I had to come in for the early morning show the AM Great Bend show that Mike Hesher held down the fort on. Thanks for
I would not say admirably, that's for sure.
Thanks for all the help.
It was some quality time between me and Hesher here in the early morning
5 o'clock
hours.
in the morning, yes.
How'd you do it? Do you have fun on sports?
Anytime you want someone to come in and do that morning sportscast, you let me know. Gotcha. Done.
Steve, it is nice. I mean, I was rolling in here like at 5:15 and getting ready for that 6 o'clock hit. I was like, oh, this is nice.
Okay, we're gonna bring some changes you're gonna like. We've got to run. I got to run them by you here later.
Oh, heck
okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right, let's get to our sounds the past 24 or the 48 hours or last week or so. Nothing really changed. In fact, I didn't really know what the Royals were doing until I checked the standings on Saturday morning. They were 4-15. Yesterday, Shohei Ohtani, as the Angels go back to back to back, and the Angels end up beating the Royals yesterday by the score of 4-3. Taylor Ward, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, consecutive home runs in the 6th inning. The Angels got only one hit in the first 5 innings off Jordan Lyles, and then they unloaded on him in that 9-pitch span. Lyles yielding 4 hits over 6 innings, 5 strikeouts. Matt Quatrero was the only one who was available to speak after that game. Royals continue the road trip tonight, Game 1 of a 3-game series in Arizona, 8 o'clock here on KVGB.
Lyles was actually pretty solid until that stretch. I think they mentioned it was a 2-strike pitch to Trout. So Ryan Lefebvre says, you know the difference between a guy who barely misses balls like that and one that hits him over the fence? Couple zeros in the salary.
Is it couple or more than that?
I'd say a couple commas.
Couple of commas.
But
yeah.
it wasn't in the zone. He did reach out and get it, but he's so strong that yikes.
Yeah, that was a big hit for the Iuka Hustlers, too, who rallied on Sunday to beat the
I
Elwood
told you,
Slammers.
Stacy is in first place in her fantasy baseball league. She wanted me to point that out to you.
Hustlers are only in 3rd, so.
Well, but Stacy's in first.
Hustlers are defending champions. Jeff Chadilla, it's going to be so cool. I mean, I don't want to go down there because I really don't like to be around 300,000 people. But this NFL draft, I thought it was really cool, and they had the draft in Nashville a couple years ago. It's going to be crazy. Starting Thursday, the NFL draft in Kansas City.
I think it's incredible the timing of it. Getting the Super Bowl right before it, and now Kansas City gets to host the draft.
Last big celebration they had there was
Exactly. It's been a little while since there's been NFL excitement in Kansas City, a couple months. So bring it back around, and Chiefs capping it off in the first round on Thursday night.
Yeah, so the big question is he going to move? I don't know. I just want to see what Brett Veach is going to do this time. I mean, I'm just waiting for something really great to happen. Jeff Chadiz with the NFL Network. He's a native of Kansas City. He's going after a right tackle because, as you all know, Mr. Left Tackle, having a right tackle is a great compliment to a left tackle.
I think just both ways, especially when you have a franchise quarterback like Patrick Mahomes back there, who we haven't necessarily seen have a terrible injury history, but we have seen some nagging ankle injuries bother him heading into postseason. Making sure you have 2 bookend tackles who you can trust out there, trust to protect him, is going to be essential and could be some quality options at the end of the first round.
Anybody that they want to move up for at right tackle?
There could be.
They may move back.
And that's the thing. some teams you'd like to see be more aggressive or less. Any sort of movement coming from Brett Veach, I'm going to trust. He's got a proven track record coming up, going back both ways, being able to find quality players around the draft.
Hash?
I'm not drinking. You just cannot. You think I'm drinking out of a coffee cup? You're crazy. You guys ought to see this coffee cup. It hasn't been washed. It was like 1999.
It could be a Jayhawk on the side, but
That's got to look like one, doesn't it?
Jeff Legwold, ESPN NFL Broncos reporter, wondering if the Broncos would try to move up in the first two rounds. Remember,
It's
to
tough.
get Russ, they kind of gave up.
They've already given up so much capital, and with the results you saw in year one, not necessarily pointing you in the most favorable direction. Do you really want to sink more resources from the future trying to right the ship? I don't know. I'm not saying they shouldn't still try to win with Russell Wilson.
They don't have any choice.
Exactly, but I don't know if you should be trying to move up in the draft, especially if that involves sending picks from further down the line, like next year's draft picks or the years after that. I don't think you should try to compromise the future's potential for now, because it doesn't look too bright in Denver after year one.
As the Bronco organization has tried to fix Humpty Dumpty over the last few years, maybe they've got something to do it. I mean, Peyton's a good coach. I think he's going to make a big, big difference with them. So
I'm excited to see what he can do, and I'm excited to see this kind of tone and attitude he wants to set for the Broncos, and I think a long way can come from the draft, seeing if he's going to be aggressive or if he's going to let it fall to him.
I don't think Russell Wilson's going to have his personal entourage.
I'm pretty sure it's already been said he lost that personal office on the next floor up.
Buster Olney, ESPN, talking about the Oakland A's move to Las Vegas, saying, yeah, they're just trying to get a better deal. They should. Oakland ought to give them it before the A's moved out. But is Las Vegas, it's amazing to me that they can support an NFL team.
I mean,
it's not that big a city. I mean, you get people coming in there all the time, but to support both an NFL team, an NHL team, and now a Major League Baseball team.
And I think it's interesting is Las Vegas just kind of stealing everything from Oakland. I mean, the Raiders were there before they moved to Las Vegas. Now the A's, maybe Las Vegas just likes a lot of what Oakland has. Is like, hey, we'll just take that, make it ours.
Well, they're kind of saying these things like they've happened, like $500 million in public funding to build a new baseball stadium, and Vegas really hasn't signed off on that yet. So,
you know, Oakland's a team I grew up watching, so it's kind of heartbreaking to me. But they're not a small market team. They're in Oakland, but nobody knows anything about them. But they've been pretty solid over the last decade. So it's amazing the fans haven't showed up more, and it's amazing that Oakland hasn't showed up more. So it's been expected to happen, but I just wish it wasn't Vegas. Send them to Oklahoma or something.
Yeah, the A's, we talk about the Royals kind of struggling. The A's have been outscored by an average of over 5 runs a game. The largest run differential in the first 21 games or so since 1900. When do the Royals get a crack at these guys? We need to get them going here a little bit. Some play-by-play. Let's see. We had the call on WIP yesterday. Trey Turner hits a home run. Gave the Phillies a 1-0 lead over the Rockies. Philadelphia goes on to win by the score of 9-3. I think Colorado got the first game of that series, and then the Phils came back to win the next 3. The call on KGMZ. Harrison Barnes missed a 3-pointer at the buzzer. That gave the Warriors a 126-125 win over Kings in Game 4. I was kind of hoping that Kings would get up. Now it's 2-2. Elsewhere, the Knicks take a 3-1 lead over the Cavs, 102-93. Timberwolves beat Denver 114-108 in overtime. They avoid elimination. And the Celtics lead nearly the entire way. They held off the Atlanta Hawks 129-121 for a commanding 3-1 lead in the opening round playoff series. No.
Shoot, next time.
You missed your opportunity.
You have some hockey in there?
So I was watching that
yeah,
one.
Yeah. They call on 6:30 Ched. CHED in Edmonton. Zach Hyman scores, assisted by Ethan Bouchard in overtime. Oilers beat the Kings 5-4. Bring it on, Hockey Talk.
LA was up 3-0 after one period. Got the two best players scores in the league this year. Come back tied up in the second. Evidently, they went 1-1 in the third. So that would have been that would have been 3-1. Tough to come back from it. Now it's 2-2. Anybody's game. I'm picking Edmonton.
I also like Edmonton. The big news there, they were down 3-0. Edmonton was down 3-0 to the Kings, and they brought in, I think it's a rookie, maybe a second year. It's a young goalie regardless, Jack Campbell, and he was able to only allow one goal saved on, I think he went 28 shots, 27 saves, and so huge in the comeback effort for the Oilers. And like Corson said, they've got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, who were the two top scorers in the NHL this year. Was looking like it could be the year the Oilers don't mess around in the playoffs and they're able to put people away, but Kings giving them a fight, 2-2 series, playoff hockey, man.
But the big one is tonight, ugly series, Toronto and Tampa Bay. Several fights in that one, which is kind of rare for playoff hockey. They're on at 6:30 tonight, I think, Game 5 there, and been getting pretty ugly, so those are always fun to watch.
I watched the Rangers and the Devils on Saturday night. Talking about ugly, there was probably 6 fights in about a 5-minute period. It was nuts.
I don't like playoff fights. Come on, let's just play. How much baseball have you guys got to watch so far? I just love it. I love it. No screwing around. I mean, you get the ball, you got to throw.
Yes.
I mean, the pace of the game has been marvelous. I think I said that about 7 or 8 years ago.
You did, and I will have to agree with you at this point, as much as it pains me.
And there's no shift. I mean, you can hit a line drive in the right field, and it's not caught by the second baseman.
I will say, especially, I mean, I watch the Royals about every day. When they're this bad, that's 5 to 7 hours a week extra I have. So I think it would be less enjoyable if they were winning and you could soak it up and listen to it, but let's get it over with.
We're going to run over some of the other sports headlines coming up in our next segment, and we've got a lot to cover, but that kind of brings us, everybody's trying to pick up pace, right? College football games have just turned into just, I mean, they're so long. Well, some rules they're not going to stop the clock to move the chains. I was hoping that they would incorporate the NFL rule where you go out of bounds. You know, the clock keeps going until you get later on, but some changes. It'll be Division I and II. Keep the clock running when the team makes a first down, because college football games have just got incredibly long, especially with the new spread offenses, and you run so many plays.
That's what I was going to bring up. It's going to be fun to see how it impacts the hurry-up teams, because we've seen games get so much longer, and so you may think it's a dredge of a game. We're actually seeing an increase in the number of plays ran.
Oh, yeah.
So now even faster teams are going to be able to really hurry up and get set up at the line. Those big boys going to have to be conditioned up front to be moving up and down the field, but should really allow for some neat, maybe some more mixed matches, potential exploitations in the defense.
Pretend I know what I'm talking about here, but if you're throwing out routes all the time, where are you at? You're on the sideline. So if you're getting 3 yards at pop and you're going out of bounds, the first down, I mean, it'll be marginal, but the bigger one would be the out of bounds one.
I agree. I think you put that in. Plus, it brings back the option of those teams who want to go Hoisington bone. I mean, you start doing that, you can run some time off that clock if you can run the football. So anyway, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We're going to check the weekend sports headlines. And Jim Mizuno is joining us on the show. Also, Lyles Lashley talking Panther track and field in the On the Prowl segment with Mike Corson here on Sports Day.
Barton Community College enrollment days are back. Registration is now available for all sessions through July 26th. Make the enrollment process fun, fast, and simple. Reserve your spot to get everything set up for the fall semester in just one day. Visit with an academic and financial advisor, enroll in classes, take a tour of campus, and more. Visit enroll.bartonccc.edu to sign up.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
There's nothing like A-STEM therapy. This is Tim Marcus from Progressive Physical Therapy in Hayes. Research shows A-STEM therapy improves muscle performance and neural functioning. It's highly effective for those dealing with tennis elbow, carpal tunnel, sports injuries, and general aches and pains.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Take a journey back in time when trains ruled travel with the Abilene and Smoky Valley Railroad. Experience the beauty and majesty of Smoky Hills as you wind your way through Kansas countryside on these vintage trains and tales of the rich history and lore of the railroad. Savor a delicious meal in the elegant ambience of the restored dining cars. Create memories that will last a lifetime by booking your tickets today at asvrr.org. The Abilene Smoky Valley Railroad, where the romance and nostalgia of the golden age of railroading comes alive.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back, Sports Day on 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. Been kind of, you're gone for a week, you just don't pay any attention, so I had to get kind of caught up. How about Barton baseball? They dropped 2 games of a doubleheader Saturday. Going to Concordia. First time that Barton has dropped a doubleheader this year. And 2-0, 6-1, but Barton took the first 2 games of that series in Great Bend. So I think they're okay. 40-7 overall, 19-5 in the league. It's going to be a fun week. The Cougars will take on Cowley tomorrow, and Cowley's receiving votes in the top 25 of junior college baseball. Cougars still ranked 5th right now. First pitch for that is going to be at 3 o'clock. That's a single 9-inning game. And then they start a big series with Hutchinson. So we're getting down toward the end of the season. Games I assume that you did. Yeah, I did get that note on my desk.
Yeah, I would have had
extra batteries.
Yeah, and I didn't even mean to have it on. I don't know why I had it on before the game, but I pulled it out of my pocket at the end. I'm like, all right, got a good doubleheader to go talk to Coach Beck about, and it was dead.
Is there anything juicy in there on there?
There
Some
was an
conversations
incredible
you had with other people that you were recording them and they
No, who knows? That's the once I get it up and running, I'll have to check and make sure I didn't accidentally record anything. But some incredible Panther baseball on Friday.
8-4 on the 8-4 on the season. Beat Garden City 17-4, 4-3.
And that first game score 17-4. 14 of the Panthers' runs came in that 6th inning. It was Panthers come in to the 6th trailing 3-4 or 4-3 rather, and the Garden pitcher, they weren't able to start their dominant left-handed ace Isaiah Salinas. He's allowed an ERA of 1.3 so far in the year. However, on the Tuesday before that, he threw out 108 pitches, and so he was unable to play for Garden. The starter in Game 1 was their usual backup, Evan Finch. He was having a pretty good game, held the Panthers in line with only 3 runs through 5 innings. However, he gets taken out before the 6th. The rest of the Garden pitching staff did not do as well as I think the first guy they put in gave up 9 runs, and then the second one gave up 5 to give us more of a football score in that 6th inning.
This pitch count thing again. Don't even get me started here.
Can't overwork the young arms.
Of course, because, everybody's going to go pro. Great Bend home against TMP tomorrow. Lady Panthers also out at the sports complex. They will be hosting TMP as well. Lady Panthers are 6-6 on the season. Track and field. Are the Lady Panthers going to win the state championship in 5A, Mike Corson?
You're dealing with some really good Northeast Kansas schools. So we got rid of Mill Valley, and they're probably going to win 6A. But St. James Academy is, and they get so many kids. Aquinas is always up there. But other than that, yep. But they're still going to be in the running. They're getting points from a whole lot of places.
I mean, to go into 151 points, that's a pretty big track meet, wasn't it?
That one was an okay one, but they took the top 3 spots in the high jump, top 3 spots in the 800. Wow. Their relays are really good.
151, and then Bueller second with 98.
Addie Nicholson swept the distance. I mean, they just got so many kids doing so many things.
The depth going on. Okay.
I guess some swimmers here too.
Oh, I hit the swimming.
So I don't think they've won one meet, but now they've qualified 3 relays to state. But the team that qualified in the very first meet, they were 3 seconds from that school record. Finally got it last week in Salina. So that's Emily Hall, Clarice Snap, Ellie Summers, and Josephine Mazouk, now in the school record book.
Had a national champion from Great Bend.
So bowling's kind of weird. The NCAA, I don't know if sanction's the right word, but there's no NCAA title, so it's a different division, but it's the collegiate national champion. Goes in there as a freshman at Wichita State. They bowl 6 games on the first day, so she comes out as the 8 seed, gets a first round draw bye in the round of 24, and then the top seeds got beat out, but it doesn't matter. She bowled well and ends up winning the national title, which will be televised tomorrow on CBS Sports. I think tomorrow at 6:30 in the evening.
Who's that?
The national championship.
Yeah, I know, but
Paige Wagner.
Okay. Her name's not on a bowling pin in here. Maybe we just need to get a special bowling pin from Paige.
And she was I believe, the runner-up individually. Had a 289 game at state as a junior. So,
jeez, 289.
Big things.
That is incredible. Royals baseball tonight at 8 o'clock. They will be taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Say, it's Arizona. How about the Snakes? Leading the NL West right now, 12-11. A surprise team so far. How about the Pittsburgh Pirates?
I was just going to say, another shout out to Stacy, who's a Pittsburgh Pirates fan.
Oh, this is going to be glorious baseball year. Pittsburgh 16-7.
And Pittsburgh's had some impressive offensive outings. I'm pretty sure they scored 14 against the Rockies not too long ago.
They got one of the better TV calls on home runs.
Clear the decks, cannonball coming. Yeah, that is the best one. Braves leading the National League East by a game over the New York Mets. American League, the Rays, a 1.5 lead over Baltimore, who made some noise last year. And Tampa Bay's 19-3, Baltimore's 14-7. The Yankees and Toronto both 6 games back. Minnesota leading the Central by 2 games over Cleveland, 5 over Detroit, 6 over Chicago, and the Royals only 8 games back so far. And they are 5-17 on the season.
To go back to 2014, who did the Royals play in the playoffs? Baltimore. Both of those teams went quickly downhill. Who was the worst team in the league prior to about 2009? Houston. Now they're one of the dominant teams. So it is worth noting that this does happen in Major League Baseball sometimes.
Texas, the Rangers, back up on top of the American League West right now by a game over Houston. The Angels are 2 games back, although they're just at 500. So some interesting stories in baseball going on right now.
Texas is another team that's hard to tell how good they are because I believe they've gotten to play our Royals twice in the past 3 weeks.
You mean 6 times? Yeah.
6, yeah.
So I don't think we dropped a Seattle in there, but hockey-wise, the Kraken, was it their first or second year? I think it's their
second year. It's their second.
First year in the playoffs. Awesome dark blue, we're going to call it marine blue, navy blue uniforms with these little light blue glowing numbers. Fantastic look for hockey.
Glowing numbers.
It accentuates their uniform
Got a
very
little
well.
iridescence off there.
I like that.
Yeah, I'll bring.
That's the same number. Those are the numbers maybe Emporia State needs to wear when they try to go out and roll out those gold numbers.
I'll say it was a recent.
I saw a picture of you in those. Did the church ladies make those football uniforms for you at Emporia State? Those were hideous.
Wait, which ones did you see? Because I won't deny that
they were basic like Penn State uniforms.
Those they may have been because I'll say when they would go white out, like the all white with the gold,
you can't see them.
That is very hard to see on film, even from like our especially when you get the end zone view, trying to differentiate between on a pole and a pile of the mass.
See, for mom and dad up in the stands, they want to know where number 86 is. For the guys on the radio who need it instantaneous, or for even the stat guys on the sideline, they went the tight uniforms that bunch up. Everybody wants the cool-looking thin numbers that it...
No.
Oof.
For what it's worth, though, in the Twitterverse, Emporia State did win a D2 uniform contest, so I saw that retweeted by the official Emporia State account.
Well, yeah, it's a church ladies. It's like
Exactly. They get the church ladies to go vote in the Twitterverse on it for them.
Right, and all the quilt societies that are making
Very
uniform
active on Twitter.
Yes. Jim Mizunas coming up next. Also, Laz Lashley talking Great Bend Track and Field here on Sports Day.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Ryan, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Farmers depend on their equipment, and equipment depends on its fuel. Cenex Premium Diesel works as hard as you do and comes with a more complete additive package for a more complete burn. Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster even cleans up your injectors and prevents injector fouling, so your equipment can keep firing on all cylinders to make every day a field day. Cenex Premium Diesel. Diesel that doesn't mess around.
Contact American Plains Co-op in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
He's a veteran of high school and college sports coverage in Kansas. Sports Day presents the Great Bend Tribune's Jim Mizunas.
Welcome back. Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. Great Bend Tribune's Jim Mizunas in studio right now. Did you miss me last week, Jim? You did?
We were worried about you traveling state by state, hoping you got through each time, and yeah, we were worried about you.
Oh yeah, SEC country. It was just a glorious time.
Yeah, that's fun to go down further south where the weather might be a little bit nicer. So that was nice.
Yeah, it was really good. So here we are on the cusp of the NFL draft. I mean, as a Chicago Bear fan, are you giddy right now?
Well, I think we're giddy about getting multiple draft picks because they decided that the quarterback that they have is good enough. Because I was thinking that, well, they may go for another quarterback and trade their quarterback. But, yeah, they got a couple draft picks. So, yeah, I think they're in better shape than maybe the Detroit Lions are.
The Lions, though, are probably going to be contending with the Vikings.
They had half their roster suspended, though, for gambling.
Well, that's true, yeah.
So that's why I said
there's that thing, yeah.
And the Packers are going to lose their quarterback, so yeah, we're
I
good.
think he's going to end up back in Green Bay.
And the Vikings are a fraud. So yeah, I think the Bears. I mean, that division is going to be pretty competitive. They all may have mediocre records, but I think the division will be better.
A lot of things going on right now, Jim. Where you want to start?
Well, we can start with track, of course, and yeah, the Great Bend girls continue to impress. Their relay teams continue to do very well, and the high jumpers continue to succeed. It's always fun when you have relays. There's nothing more fun than track than either the short relay or the 1600 relay. They're fun races. They're just such fun races because it's all handoffs and pace and
there's an element of danger in there where those aren't automatic points that you can get.
Yeah, and that's certainly one of the best races I've ever seen when Kara Feist came from behind. And she did the same thing in the meet at Great Bend last year. They dropped the baton and still find a way to compete. And Feist ended up with a tremendous anchor leg in the 1600 relay and ends up helping Great Bend get second in the state track meet. So, yeah, it's always fun when you have a 1600-meter relay because you're in the last race, your last chance to get points.
So I know you and Mike Corson were kind of talking about it, the competition that Great Bend's going to have in Class 5A this year.
Yeah. You lose Mill Valley, but then you gain a Hutchinson hurdler who's also impressive in the 100, who might win all three events. Cape and Mount Carmel has a really good runner too. So there's certainly that's two runners that you have to account for. Capen's got the sprinter, and so does Hutch High. So although Great Bend isn't necessarily poised to score a lot of points in those events, Valerie Luna has been very competitive in the 100, and of course the relay team in the short relay is very good too. So anytime you got those super sprinters out there that can chop up a couple points there. But what I like about Great Bend girls is they go from field events to track events to distance events, and so they got a lot of the events covered. One of the first times I've seen the javelin for quite a long time, I went out to the girls' javelin Friday, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. That wind is such a factor in the javelin. It was a crosswind, which they said is really the worst. You want a wind with you or against you. And I didn't realize they got javelins. This is the javelin with the wind, and here's the javelin against the wind. Those javelins aren't cheap. $300-400. It's amazing. And the pole vaults are similar too, but I didn't realize that javelins were that expensive.
Well, yeah, pole vault. Yeah, that's another one. And with the javelin, I mean, that changed many years ago, but used to be, I mean, that's the best way because you couldn't mark if the wind was at your back because you couldn't scrape.
Yeah,
you had to mark it.
Right.
I mean, it didn't have to stick in the ground, but you did have to break and if not, it was a fault. So
now they've got two javelins, so you got the wind with you or against you. And of course, the worst wind is a crosswind because then you really can't account for anything. And you're playing it like a golf ball. You're going to knock it down the left side and hope the wind carries it somewhere in the middle. But you're not gaining any distance by that method.
And you bring up a good point about track and field. It's so neat because how are you going to get your points? How many points are you going to be able to accumulate if you get to a state meet and just bringing in one competitor, like you said, from Hutchinson, that maybe you don't get this many points that you thought you were going to get. It's
Raleigh Duval got 1 point, and that was the difference of them getting second or third. I can't remember what event it was, maybe the discus, but yeah, so 1 point could be the difference. That's what makes track and field so fun. And the events are so varied. The jumps, the high jumps, the triple jump, pole vault is just totally wild. There's events that I don't understand how they pole vault. It's just amazing.
And it's made it so much better now because you can follow along with the scoring. Unless back in the day before the electronic scoring that you could pull up on your phone or your laptop, you had no idea, who was, when you come down to the last event, most people in the stadium didn't know that, the team that's in first place, needed to finish fourth or better.
No, I've gone to the state track meet before, and it's like, if Maxville wins this 1,600 relay, they're going to wait a minute. They've only got like 27 points. But that's exactly what is nowadays. You at least have a better chance of keeping track with team scores and individual events. And I know that there's nobody better than Lyles Lashley. Man, he charts that stuff to the nth degree. And he had a cross-country chart, maybe it was last year, and he was like, if he wasn't right on with first, second, third, they were one place off. It's like, how do you do this? And how much time do you got in your day to do this? It was just amazing how he had charted. And because times are relative in cross-country, it depends on the course. And so, but he knows that. He knows how to factor that in. So, and in track, that's not the case at all, because they're all competing on the same level playing field. But that's what makes cross-country interesting, too, is it all depends on, it's like golf. It depends on the course and where you're playing.
Be a fun day out at the sports complex tomorrow. It's always fun.
Yeah, we're hoping for good weather. The forecast to rain, but
we have turf.
Well, they got turf there, yeah, and girls soccer is supposed to play later in the day, and of course softball, baseball will be playing, and it'll be fun if the weather holds out. So hopefully that's the case. I always worry about the girls traveling to Liberal today for a soccer game, but we'll see. Or is it softball? Anyway, yeah, the girls go to. The girls soccer goes to Hayes and softball goes to Liberal for one game. So that's a long trip for Liberal for one game. I mean, they get a junior varsity game and a varsity game, so that's fun. And Drew Hines of Ellenwood has got off to a great start. Went up to Dodge City, and the Ellenwood coaches got two really good players, Mason Moore and Drew Hines. Shoots a 68 at Dodge and beats all the 6A and 5A guys. Drew was runner-up last year in the rain-shortened 18-hole tournament, and obviously he's going to be a great candidate to compete in the 2A level. You can beat all the 5A and 6A guys at Dodge City. You have a legitimate golf game.
What did he shoot?
68.
68 at Mariah Hills?
Yeah, it's a good score. And it's always windy out there, so that's a great score. And, of course, Alex Carlson, he continues to shine. He won 3 events at Plainville. And then Hoisington softball, they got back on track. They're up to 8-4. And then Larned softball continues to win at least one game a week. They're up to 5-7 and 6-8 overall after only winning 2 or 3 games last year. So tremendous job by Larned softball. And then Larned baseball won 2 too. So they're off to a good start. But yeah, and Great Bend baseball has been amazing. They have so many young players and freshmen playing, 8-4, and they've got a shot to really have a chance the rest of the season. They played TMP in 2 games. They played Dodge City, which is the worst team in the WAC, 2 games Friday. And then they go to McPherson for another doubleheader, and then they got one other doubleheader. So they've got a great chance to close out the season on a high note, because what's hurt in the last 2 years is they got caught with Goddard Eisenhower, a very tough draw. So at 8-4, if they can keep winning, they're going to get a nice draw, and they have a chance for a home site. Top 4 gets home sites for baseball and softball regional.
You know, we were talking about Great Bend girls, you know, and their chances maybe win a state championship. What all the sports around here, some other, maybe area teams that might have a chance to bring home a trophy from state competition this year?
Well, certainly Drew Hines has a great shot at 2A golf, but for the most part, the golfers are not high caliber this year. Like I said, Drew's about it. Larned's got 4 players back from their state tournament team, and they've got 2 outstanding players too. So certainly Larned has a good chance to make the state tournament and has a chance to certainly get some guys in the top 20 for sure.
Can't wait for first football season or the first football game over at Larned next year.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And I do have a little aside here.
Okay.
You know, this is always the news off the chart.
Okay.
The prom at Nickerson was this weekend. And my grandson was a welcome guest of Ava Jones as her date. Grandson got to go to prom with Ava Jones.
Did he get her autograph?
No, he didn't need that. He's good friends with Ava. Ava's unable to compete, but Alex competes in the high jump, and Ava's always at the high jump pit giving him tips and giving him there's a lot. It's a complicated event, too. It's like, oh, you got to get your feet up. No, you got to lean your back. No, you got to pull your head. It's like, how do they do this event? But anyway, so Ava helps him out in the high jump. So they had a fun time Saturday night.
Jim, thanks.
Yep, you're welcome.
Jim Mizunas in with us on Sports Day. Mike Corson talking Great Bend Track and Field coming up next with head coach Lyles Lashley.
From the Mail Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB Great Bend and 95.5 FM K238CK Hoisington.
Attention Kansas high schoolers. Barton Community College wants to help you get ahead in your education and save money with new early college online savings. Starting March 20th, pay only $75 per credit hour on any Barton online course. That's a savings of up to $80. All online classes are eligible, including career technical and general education. Learn more at bartonccc.edu/earlycollege.
The time is now. Get up to $729 off devices like the Samsung Galaxy S23 or the iPhone 14 Pro. Bring your number to us and you can also get a $100 Visa gift card. Only at Next Tech Wireless. Home on the range.
Sports Day presents On the Prowl with Mike Corson, an inside look at all the sports taking place at Great Bend High School.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. Mike Corson, joined today by Panther Track and Field coach Lyles Lashley. How are you today?
Doing wonderful. Yourself?
Pretty good for a Monday. So you guys were out in Buhler on Friday. Always a good time when you can pick up a win for the Lady Panthers.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to go to Buhler because I said Buhler. Can you name the movie?
That would be Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
There you go. Yeah, it was a good day. Beautiful weather for once around here, so it was a fun day.
Sweeping a couple events, so we'll start out in the field. Obviously, Valerie Luna's been, I think she's still the 5A leader in the high jump, but Sadie Sprague gets up there for the silver, and Cassie Elligott goes 5.2, which is a season best for her. How important are those points going to be down the stretch?
It'll help. It actually was the other way around. Actually, Cassie got the silver and Sadie got the bronze. Cassie went 5'2" and Sadie went 5 foot. So it'll be big. I know those girls are sitting. I think 1, 2, and 4 in the region right now, so that'll be big. And of course, all those girls are from the WAC, the Hayes girls in there too. So it'll be some really good high jump competitions in the next few weeks.
You guys have always had kind of a strong 800 program under you, but Ileana Beckham kind of posted the 5th fastest time in 5A for the win, and then you have a freshman, Sienna Smith, and Cassie Elliott in there for the sweep in that event. Once again, Eliana's been kind of the constant there, but how good to see the other two getting up into some medal status.
Well, it was nice to see Eliana get out there and put in a race like she trained. It's been a long time coming, and she went out there and put it out there. Those other two, really nice to see the freshman. She's had some really good workouts, and that's her first Open 8 this year, whether she's been sick or hurt a few times, or that we got, rained out of her home meet. And then Cassie, that's only about her 3rd or 4th Open 800 in her life, so we were really pleased with that.
4x4 team, obviously the state champ. I think they were number 1 in 5A entering Friday, but I think it was the Barrier Breakers meet up in Lawrence. St. James Academy. Is that frightening, or is that one where maybe they threw a girl that won't run at state, or how did they beat that time?
I think they're just really good. They have a lot of good girls. They're going to be awful tough to beat in everything. All 3 relays. They got three good 800 girls, probably 4 or 5 good milers. So you throw that in, you're usually going to make some good relays. So they're going to be awful tough. But hopefully our girls will balance the challenge.
Yeah. Speaking of milers, I think Addie Nicholson said she doesn't like to run the mile, but ran her best time at home, and she was able to improve on that big time for Friday in Buhler. How's her progress going?
Oh, I think 2 weeks ago she owned a 540 down PR, and now it's dropped all the way down to 525. So we're excited for her. She's big PR for there. Was hoping some of those girls to run the 2 mile too, but she was kind of on her own on that one. But otherwise she'd had a big PR there too. So she's progressing really well.
Maybe one more on the girls' side. Obviously the hurdles have been big for you guys with Mackenzie Premer and Sadie Spray, but Hutchinson's Annalisa Collins runs like the 7th fastest time all time. Fun to watch that?
It's kind of hard to watch it because she's so far ahead of everybody else. So you kind of want to watch your own girls, but she's like 2 hurdles ahead of everybody, so it's kind of hard to watch.
And then on the 300 side, the Peterson girl runs her best time by far. Are those maybe going to be some points down the stretch that didn't maybe count on early in the season?
Well, yeah, last year she was 3rd in the WAC, both in the short hurdles and the 300 hurdles, so that's points definitely at the WAC level that we're hoping for.
Talking to Panther track and field coach Lyles Lashley. On the boys' side, obviously, Caden Esfeld had the big day winning the distance events. A little bit of time to reflect. Still the 5A leader, and 5A is notoriously tough in the distance events, so he runs well off his time but still cruises in the 16. Kind of shocked that in 5A he's still the leader?
No, 420 is fast. I know they had that beat out Topeka, but I don't know what the weather was like there for that. But no, he's 420 is fast, and this is kind of a off week for him training. We kind of trained him kind of hard because knowing there wasn't going to be a whole lot to run with for him. He ran awful fast in the 4x8, and then Dillard took it a mile, and then, of course, the 800 too. So he had a nice leg on our 4x4. So looking forward to seeing him race some really good people this weekend out in Topeka.
Madison Regier, couple of silvers in the hurdle events. Really popped some really good times in the first couple meets of the year, so you would think he's going to be a gold favorite. How good was the competition Friday?
It was good, but he's not making excuses for him. He's coming off he's had a head cold all last week, and feeling pretty crappy most of the weeks, but kind of most of our kids work too. I think it's from the horrible curse word they call prom, when they don't get any sleep for on a Saturday, and then they all start getting sick all week. So not to make excuses, he just but he still went out and competed really well.
Once again, the girls relays have been strong, but boys seem to be building up, ranked in both the 4x4 and the 4x8. How's the progress on those two?
Good. We'll have to make some decisions obviously down the road on what Caden's going to do, because whatever relay you put him on, whether it's 4x8 or 4x4, he makes it awful good. And so we'll have to make a decision what's going to be best for the team down the road. So, but those are all the guys are progressing really well. We put a sub on the 4x4, Rami Rocho, and his PR a couple of weeks ago was 57 in the 400. He split 52 for us in the 4x4. So, just he was in there and got, you get out and lead and get some excitement, and you just never know what kids can do.
One more for you here. Matthew Maters, obviously your state javelin qualifier, one of the top in 5A this year, but the big one Friday, Matthew Johnson threw a big PR for like 144 in the javelin.
He did. It's nice to see that he's progressing really well, especially in such a short time and just now coming out for track. We're excited to see what the next few weeks hold for him.
And where do you guys head this week?
I head to Topeka Seaman for 2018 meet, so it should be a good one.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
More Sports Day after
Corporation
this.
is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
When you need to get rid of the pain, you want the best. You need to see Dr. Dan Quillen at Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Dr. Dan is Barton County's only board-certified clinical specialist in orthopedic physical therapy. No matter your age, when it hurts, he will help. Call Dan at 620-282-4825. That's 282-4825. Excellence-driven, unrivaled results. Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Inside the Fieldhouse at 9th and Madison and Great Bend.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Putting the wraps on a Monday show. Tomorrow, Cole Reifert will be in, and then Corson will go on the prowl again. We're going to see if we can get John Betts on. When he was on the previous week, not last week, but the previous week, we got to start talking about Smith Center football and all that, so we didn't get to what we really wanted to talk about. So hopefully Big John will join us tomorrow here on the show. So are you like giddy now? Are you like one of those guys that the NFL draft is coming up?
It's been on my calendar since about February. I won't lie. I love the draft. It's a great time. I think if you like football, it's fun to watch even because it's just a cut-up of some of the best college players, and you get to watch their highlights and then see where they're going to play their pro ball, get to think about how they'll fit in with their new team.
And all the fans, it's a great event because no one loses. Their team doesn't lose.
Exactly. There's no way for you to lose a game at the draft. Then there's
you never
also
have a press conference after that. Say, boy, that was a really crappy draft. We're going to have it.
It's always, we got all the players we wanted. All the players we got are great. It's going to be a great year. You can't lose any games at the draft, which, something to remember. I think fans forget you can't win any games at the draft, too. Some people get pretty excited, but
I've heard some booing for recent drafts, like Jets fans and Giants
that's when Roger Goodell steps on the stage.
Well, this is the New York fans when it was in New York, so yeah. I don't expect any booing from Chiefs fans.
You don't think they'll boo Goodell?
I would be surprised if Goodell doesn't get booed because
they would boo their draft choices.
No,
Years
if
ago.
any of the Chiefs faithful are booing a pick that Veach makes, we're going to have some issue because at this point, in Veach we trust.
Deny that, but I'm talking years ago.
Yeah, no, there's definitely been, especially those New York fan bases are very hard to
Can you imagine them having it in Philadelphia? Oh, my.
Remember how they used to do it? They'd have a little table there with their helmet in front of them, an NFL phone helmet, and they'd take the call. And I forgot all about that when the Minnesota Vikings missed their pick.
Yeah, in like 2003?
Yeah. How do you miss your pick?
I have no idea.
That's like fantasy baseball draft. You know, you get up, go to the bathroom, you come back, and you missed your pick. But they've got 15 minutes to do it. They must be.
It baffles me how you could possibly not make a selection.
There must have been a lot of behind the scenes going on there.
I've heard there were some missed phone calls,
Really?
and I have heard that part of that was they were trying to negotiate a trade that fell through, but a unique draft situation.
I just can't wait. That's how spoiled we've got. I was Brett Veach. I got him in that. It's just Andy Reid's it's his sidekick. He's just putting him in there. Man, he just has filled it every year. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do this year.
Brett Veach, Andy Reid, one of the best combos in the front office of the NFL.
So who's calling it? Is it Veach or is it Andy?
Legitimate, I think it's probably Veach has last say, but I would be very surprised if that isn't a very combined effort, just with how much they've meshed and how well they've translated draft picks into success on the field.
I think Veach has the final say.
Whoever does, just don't change it up. Don't change it up. Okay, thanks, Hesh. Thanks, Aaron. Talk to you tomorrow here on Sports Day on KVGB.
This is Agriculture Today, and I'm Samantha Bennett with the